Day 40 of Jeremy Fears watch as his name is still in the NBA draft. Now, he has until next Wednesday to pull his name out and come back to Michigan State, but if he doesn't, are we just straight up doomed?
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Matt Sheehan. Thanks a ton for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Spartans. Guys, on today's show, it's still Jeremy Fears talk because, well, some things have somehow still have changed the last time that we've talked about our reigning All-American point guard. Now, we're going to talk about what happens if he does stay in the NBA draft. Is Michigan State doomed? Who needs to really step it up next year for our Spartans to even have a chance at a solid season? But guys, it's not going to be me just droning on and on and on. No, we have great friend of the program, Sean Merriman, here to talk about all this with us. So let's get to this chat right now. Folks, he is back. It is the one, the only Sean Merriman doing fantastic work over at Fox Sports. And also here to talk more Michigan State basketball because, yes, the topic of the week, or really at this point the month, is Jeremy Fears. Will he stay? Will he go? What has changed since the last time we've talked about Mr. Fears? Well, roughly about 48, 72 hours ago. Yeah. Well, he's still in the draft. He's got until next Wednesday at midnight to take his name out. Now, he's had private workouts with a few NBA teams ever since the Combine wrapped up. Rafael Davis, Big Ten analyst, maybe Jeremy Fears' agent or not, I really can't tell. He's singing his praises, saying that he heard he went 74 of 100 in a shooting drill in a private workout. Hoops Hype, website Hoops Hype, says he also has workouts with Washington and Milwaukee. And Jason Richardson, former Michigan State player, and of course, father of Jace Richardson, who went to the draft last year, he tweeted this out, in the discourse of it all on Twitter. It's not about money, especially in the NIL era. Every kid who starts playing basketball dreams of making it to the NBA. Fair enough. It's bigger than just the paycheck. It's about turning a lifelong dream into reality. Sean, what's your vibe on this right now? Please just either douse the flames right now or fan them. It's really up to you. Do you want to be the fireman or the arsonist here? Because what's your feeling on this? I'm spiraling a little bit.
And I think that's a totally fair place to be in, given that all the information you just laid out. Look, I think, I listened to your show a few days ago when you talked about Jeremy Fears, spot on with what changed since. I think that there's a lot of layers to this that let's spend these next couple minutes here that we have unpacking some of that.
Sure.
The thing that's interesting is, we're hearing all this, but who we're not hearing from outside of the one interview that we know he had with Andy Katz in the Big Ten Network is Jeremy Fears himself. So
yes,
really that's what I have been focused on, trying to get as many of those little snippets and tea leaves out of that I can. Gosh, I think, as sad as this is to say, I've probably watched that 1 minute interview 10 times.
Right, exactly.
Going through it and just trying to parse out, the little things he said. So I'll start there. And I think one of the things, that I thought was interesting that he said, if I can get a first round spot. Now, I've heard that paraphrased by several people to say if I can get a first round grade. Those to me are two different things.
I agree. Yep.
When you're talking about, and you use the term a first round spot, what that tells me then is why you see, the detail coming out about these private workouts, because you can get the feedback during the combine and you can say, yeah, you might be a first rounder. You might be a fringe first, early second. That's a grade. A spot to me is saying that if Jeremy Fears has a private workout and he has an individual from an NBA organization tell him, hey, if you're here at this pick, we're going to lock in at taking you. To me, that's what that means by a first round spot. That's why these, individual workouts are important. Certainly you can boost your stock in the combine. We saw the kid from Baylor, Carr, just absolutely skyrocket off draft boards.
Yep.
After that first scrimmage that Fears had where he put up, 17 and had just a good showing. I think that's when this fear began to set in amongst us fans as well. Maybe this is something.
Right.
He followed that with a 7 turnover game, which kind of helped curb those a little bit.
I like
But
seeing that. I did like seeing
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
say.
But it's the private workouts, keyword private, because you're not going to hear a lot about those.
Yeah.
Where I think that he's kind of going to get the feedback and figure out does he have a team that is truly telling him, hey, we're going to lock in on you if we have a first round pick. I think that's ultimately the way I parse
Yeah.
through that.
I know. It is interesting too, I guess, and this is just, one website found out that, was working out for Milwaukee and Washington. Neither of those guys are at the end of the first round, at least not now. Of course, you can trade back. But yeah, right now, Milwaukee's picking 10th in the first round. Washington, they got that coveted first pick. I don't know if Fears will go over AJ DeBonsta or Darren Peterson, but maybe, perhaps. So yeah, there's a lot of wrinkles here, man. And also, who else is going to take their name out? What other point guards are going to keep their names in here? Could he just, fall up the shuffling order just by way of guys dropping out? There's just too many wild cards, man. I need May 27th to be here right now just so we have an answer. But
I know. I'm with you right there. And I think, one other thing that I want to talk about from that Andy Katz interview is I got the quote here. He said, I believe I'm a first-round talent. There's a lot of players I see going in the first round that I played against. Say what you want about Jeremy Fears and all the extracurricular stuff that happened last year. God forbid, we put that behind us by now.
No, why do that? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, no one is going to deny that this kid is just a motivated individual.
Dog.
When I hear that, to me, what that means is he's got that. How many times have we heard the Amon-Ra St. Brown thing where he can name every player that went ahead of it? That to me is what I feel when I hear that. And you look at what that means. Jeremy Fears, I went back to ESPN's latest mock, and 30 first-round picks, he's played against 14 of the 30. So call it half the first round right now, okay? Other than Boozer at Duke and the Michigan trio, he has beaten and, quite frankly, owned every other player that is projected in the first round. And you look at some of those guys that he's played against that are going in the first round that you can draw comparisons to because they're also point guards. Darius Acuff from Arkansas, Keaton Wagler from Illinois, Bennett Sturz from Iowa. I understand that Jordan Scott and Cohen Carr had a big role in locking some of those guys down as well. But look at those guys' stat lines and how they did in those games. I think it was they shot a combined, I don't know what it was. It was
not good.
6 for 16, 2 for 16, 4 for 10. Jeremy Fears absolutely got the best of all those guys. So I think, of course, the NBA is about, he's smaller than those guys. He's undersized. It's about potential. It's about athleticism. It's about all that, no doubt. But I think Jeremy Fears is sitting here saying, what do the kids say? Check the tapes.
Exactly.
Go see what I did when I played against these guys. And I think that right there are some parallels there to what you're seeing him say on Twitter, to what you're seeing his dad say on Twitter. I think that is in the back of the kid's mind, that he's saying, I'm looking at these mocks and seeing all these kids that I played against this year, half the first round. And other than Boozer and the Michigan trio, I got the best of all of them.
Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, the inbox is overflowing. If you are in the business of hiring, you know exactly what I'm talking about, guys. When that pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Now, Indeed sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. We're talking skills, experience, location. You're not just hoping the right candidate randomly stumbles across your posts. No. Indeed sponsored jobs will serve this up to you on a platter, guys. It's less stress, it's less time, it's more results. So when you need the right person to cut through all the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes, and also save while you do so, because listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed right here on this podcast, guys. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Also want to shout out the everyday listener of Locked On Spartans. Thanks a lot for making the Locked On Podcasting Network the #1 ranked podcast network, guys. And also, hey, if you want your Spartans, you need your fix completely ad-free, well, join our Everydayer Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to the Spartans without interruptions, guys. Hey, click the link in the episode description to join. It's justifiable confidence, no question. And speaking of confidence, because I've talked to people on both ends of the spectrum here, people that are 99% sure that he will return and people 99% sure that he's going to be leaving here. I'm not in the middle. I think that he still will come back. Obviously, you could tell by my body language and the quiver in my voice. It's getting ratcheted up a little bit that he might leave. I'm at like a 11.7% chance that he will leave right now. What about you, Sean? What percent chance do you have that he is going to leave and stay in the NBA draft? Because everyone's answer is different here as it pertains to this. But what's yours, man?
Yeah, definitely. I think I wouldn't be doing this justice if I didn't give some rationale behind where I'm at.
Let's go. Okay.
I'd say I'm probably at about 70 he stays, 30 he goes.
Okay. Oh God, my chest does just tighten up a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay.
I know, but listen, I'm not any more in the loop than you are. Like, we're hearing the same things, we know the same things. Perhaps we talk to some different people that have different elements of it and different stories about it. I think the thing here is like there's the idea of, and I've heard you talk about this on your show, of like, well, if he comes back, like, what kind of role does legacy play in this? And I think that he's aware of that, but ultimately, there is a pretty clear understanding that, like, when a kid goes to college to play basketball, and the ultimate dream is to be a first-round NBA pick, like, that's it.
Right.
It's winning a national championship. Of course, when you're in the midst of that, that's huge.
Yeah.
Leaving a legacy, massive. But, like, the ultimate goal for kids that have a chance to play at the next level is to be a first-round pick. And if we keep that into perspective, then it's breaking it down of, I've heard you talk about the NIL aspect, like how much money will he make compared to what he might make if he is a second-round pick, which, by the way, you've said it, others have said it, but let's reiterate it, like, second picks are not guaranteed contracts.
Right. Yep.
So we have to keep that in mind. And also, like, I'm sure there are a few very select people that are really close to the program that have a general range or an idea of what he's making in NIL.
Of course.
But I feel fairly confident in saying that no one outside of Jeremy Fears and the people that run the books in the program know that exact number. So, like, we're kind of just guessing at what that looks like. Like, if I were to guess, I think that number is probably really close to what he would make if he were to be a second rounder, but I've heard 1.5 million and I've heard 3.5 million. So, like, the range is so massive. And again, there's probably a few people that have a really good idea. But those people are very far and few between.
And then, like, you hear the rumors that, school X tried to lure him in with a $5 million offer. And what kind of hometown discount would he agree to come back to Michigan State? I don't know, but it hurt to read Jason Richardson's tweet because it was just layered in honesty, right? I mean, you just saw his kid do it last year. I mean, it is the dream of making it to the NBA. And one of the bonuses going at the end of the first round is more times than not, you are on a ready-to-play playoff team. Now, what do your minutes look like? Sure. Different conversation, but look, let's continue the spiral here, and not because I like going doom and gloom and being sensationalistic here, but we know what Michigan State looks like if Jeremy Fears does return. Top 10 team, Final Four competitor, maybe even more. But let's just all get on the same page here, and let's envision a future where Wednesday rolls around. He has his Instagram post that says, "Yep, I'm staying in the NBA draft. Good luck to the Spartans next year." I said as much 2 or 3 days ago. There ain't no lipstick you can put on that pig. Like, we would be in Sadville, Michigan, if he stayed here. I think we're doomed. I know Bart Torvik, and I've said this a few times, would bump our projection from 6 going into next year all the way back to 19th if you took his name out. I don't think that's anywhere close to reality. I think that this team would legitimately be struggling maybe to find its way out of the first 8 games or whatever the new round is. It would be a tough season next year. Do you have any? Do you got any lipstick or lip gloss or any makeup over there that you could put on this, or am I right, kind of already being in my little doomsday bunker over here? Should he not come back?
I mean,
I'm laughing to stop myself from crying. By the way, that's the laughter. That's nervous laughter.
I'm happy you brought up the Bartorvik thing because you're the one that taught me about that tool. And by the way,
I love it.
I'm not getting paid any pushback from Bartorvik, but what an awesome tool that is.
It's the best. Yeah. Oh God, you want to waste time of your day? Whew.
Yeah.
That's a great website and a great tool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. No, I'm probably with you. 19 seems generous.
Way generous.
At that point, you're taking a freshman point guard in Carlos Medlock that I think that you're projecting right now to probably play somewhere call it 8 to 10 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And you're immediately shooting up to 28 to 30 at a minimum. You're putting the pressure on, the coaching staff to, I think they know that if Jeremy Fears were to leave, they can't put themselves in a position like they were in last year and only go into the season. I mean, of course, Devine was there, but you can't put yourself in a position to only have one point guard, one primary ball handler. You have to go out and get someone. Where do you go out and get someone? The portal is very picked over at this point. I think the obvious answer to some, which sounds great on paper, but I don't know how realistic that is you go the international route. You take a page out of Brad Underwood or Tommy Lloyd's playbook and go look there. We all talk and I think kind of joke about the idea of Trey Holloman coming back. That's probably a pipe dream. Sure,
I think so. Right.
Get him in front of a Lansing judge that's wearing green Michigan State shoes at the bottom under. But
amen. Right.
Look at that. That guy's played 30 plus games for 4 years.
No problem. No problem in the NCAA. No.
Yeah. And by the way, as much as I love what Trey did here, Trey Holloman's not Jeremy Fears. Let's not confuse that.
Right. But he might be the best option you have at that point. Because like you said, I was just on the portal yesterday. And the amount of scrolls I did on my phone, I think I logged 2.5 miles before you even hit a name that hasn't been picked out yet amongst the top ranked guards. Everyone is accounted for the most part. There will always be players available, but those players are probably better suited at
to add some context into what you just said. I think I read that it was 2,700 players that have entered the portal. So that's the type of scrolling that you did before you could find anyone that wasn't, committed.
That explains why. Yep. There you have it.
And look, it probably, if that were to happen, the natural instinct, I think, of a lot of fans will be to look at Devine Okechukwu leaving and saying,
of course.
Wow, why did we kind of just let life move on after that? Why did we spend a day worrying about that and then felt like everything's okay? Someone had to leave. It's okay him leaving. Whoa.
I got one prediction of a message board topic that could happen here, and the avenue I'm going to go down is if MSU got a better big man than Anton Bonk, a more championship-made roster, maybe Jeremy would have felt compelled to come back. Do you think that's a realistic talking point here? Can you put yourself in the Red Cedar message board and see those words pop up, or is that just a little too out there, you think? Because people are going to grasp at any straws they can possible.
Yeah.
People, like myself, I'm one of these people, will not deal with this well, and they will be looking at any reason to get upset at anything. I think that's a realistic talking point for some people, too.
Yeah, I mean, am I going to doubt that someone posted that? Absolutely not. I've spent plenty of times on those messages board. That seems that seems on brand, no doubt. But here's the thing is I remember when the days were going by before we got the commitment from Anton Bonk or Bonky, however you pronounce it.
Whatever. Choose your own adventure. Yeah, whatever.
And we began, it was right around those times where we began to see, Aiden Sherrell's on campus at Indiana. There's a lot of smoke about him committing there. What are we doing? The time is going by. And my thought when hearing that was always like, wouldn't it just ease? I'm not saying this would happen, but like, how much would it ease people's mind if Jeremy Fears, like, if Tom Izzo just said, "Hey, I talked to Jeremy Fears about this," and it's like, because the thing was like, how would Jeremy Fears fear if an Aiden Sherrill came in and was making $2 million more than him, right? Like, what would that? We never got an answer to that, nor will we probably ever have an answer to that. But like, damn, would I like to know the answer to that? And would that help clear up so many questions that like ran through my mind then and immediately came back to my mind when you just posed that question? Like, how would Jeremy Fears feel being a preseason first team All-American if we were to pay someone $1 million, $2 million more to him than come in? But in return, perhaps that gives you a higher ceiling in a potential, Final Four caliber team.
Fun conversation topic that, like you said, we might never know the answer to. So, like, I do want to end this with a positive question. I don't want to be, 30 minutes of doom and gloom, just like 27-ish minutes. Come on. But I do have one more. Look, let's say again, Jeremy Fears does stay in the NBA draft. Let's play this game. Which Spartan currently on the roster would have the most pressure on them going into the season? And there's certainly a lot of candidates. Is it going to be it looks like the last remaining senior, the last remaining fourth-year guy here, Cohen Carr, stepping up his game just another notch? Are you going to go all the way down to a guy that hasn't even taken a dribble of collegiate basketball yet in Josiah Jervis? Because, hey, for example, let's say they don't land anyone out of the international circuit. We need another ball handler. It's not going to be Kurt Tang. Jordan Scott, maybe that could also be another candidate here, but is Josiah Jervis your next man up for a guy that could handle the ball when Carlos Medlock can't go, understandably so, a full 40 minutes in a Division I basketball game as a freshman? This question sucks, but it's one worth asking, like in our hypothetical scenario here. Who are you going to anoint as the guy with the most pressure on them?
Yeah, I think, probably the obvious two answers are Medlock and Jervis. And it's just because, Jervis, because of a very real, thing that you just brought up is who's going to be the second ball handler if that happens. What does that look like? We know who, like as you said, we know who it's not going to be, but we don't know. Is Josiah Jarvis, is he capable of doing that? Is that something that he's
maybe
that he has to do out of necessity? Like, asking a freshman like Carlos Medlock to come in and play, like I said, like 25, 30 minutes a game, like, that's an obvious answer, but I'll give you one that is a bit non-traditional.
Okay.
It's Tom Izzo.
Hey, now, let's go. Is he going to have to play, you think? Will he be taking the ball up the court, giving other teams 94 feet of hell if they ever go to press? I think he's with it.
I think we might put Raymar or Austin Thornton, one of his assistants, before him. But
Goran Zutan's still off the bench.
You got Goran. David Thomas is still around the. You got some options.
We have options. It's not a problem. If LSU's going to get these guys eligible, I don't see why Goran Zutan.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Again, just go in front of a Lansing judge. You got this.
See, there we go. I like that.
No, I say Tom Izzo because I think that there's so many layers to this current team that you can look at and say why this is going to be so debilitating if Jeremy Fears does live. And ultimately they do come back to Tom Izzo is getting up there in age. Yeah. Tom Izzo just watched his hated rival win a national championship.
Not great.
Yeah. Tom Izzo has a team that with Jeremy Fears, that there's a real belief that they have Final Four potential with, oh, by the way, is in Detroit this year. And if Tom Izzo went on Jack Ebling's show and said verbatim that he believes that Jeremy Fears will come back. So like
that was said. It was.
and so then like the natural reaction from the fan base is like, okay, he didn't. What now? What do you got? What's your plan now? And I think that's, and also like, there's no coach in the nation that has been more vocal and forthcoming about what he thinks about this state of college basketball.
Absolutely.
And there's a real question of like, if Jeremy Fears leaves, and this is a guy that Tom Izzo went on record to say that he believes is coming back, like, what does that do to his psyche? Is this still, is this still the guy that believes that he can do everything that he can accomplish in his way? That's a real question to ask, and talk about pressure. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Of course, no pressure on jobs like Tom Izzo can coach till he literally dies. Like the man is a legend. Yeah, right. Exactly. At this point, he might. There's nothing about this that says that when I say pressure, that I mean, what his stance on the program is and where he stands there.
Like no hot seat talk going on.
Yeah. Let's be clear. Absolutely not. This is more about.
There will be disappointment, no question about it. But man,
I mean, you will have some people. You already have some people that, you've talked about this, that come out on the message boards and said, oh, he's washed. Like, no, tell me what you got coming in that's better. You don't. Like, this guy is an absolute legend that deserves his spot of where he is, and he can coach as long as he wants to.
And has had really good teams lately. That's a different topic, but yeah, that drives me up a wall. Like the Jim Boeheim comparisons, like, no, Boeheim rammed Syracuse into the ground. Izzo just had some really good teams last 2 years. Whatever. Anyway.
Look what he's doing on the recruiting trail at this age. Like,
no kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
Look, I do want to end on a high note here. So let's do it. Let's try this, okay? Jeremy Fears announces that he's returning. Hey, woo, it's a good time. Most anticipated return for a Spartan basketball player since when? Is it just an easy answer? Do we got to go back almost, and I hate to say it, almost a decade now at this point with Miles Bridges announcing his return? Anyone else's name pop up? Do you think it even goes above a Miles Bridges return, or just how bright of a spotlight? How happy will we be? Jeremy Fears does announce his return by next Wednesday.
I think as far as someone that has flirted with the idea of going to the NBA draft, Miles Bridges is probably a good answer there.
Yeah.
I think of it also in the fact of where Michigan State will be if he returns preseason, what the expectation will be versus what if he doesn't, which we talked about. And I think back to, I think it was Cassius' junior year heading into the COVID year. And I believe Michigan State was preseason number 1 that year.
They were up there.
I want to say they played, I think it was Kentucky in the Champions Classic, and it was a top 5 matchup. I think, and they lost that game if I remember correctly. But I think of that. I think to Cassius. Yeah, I think to that Cassius year. Obviously, there was so much, and they were coming off a Final Four. That was the year they lost to Texas Tech before in the Final Four. There was so much hype around that team about what they were going to be. And I think that, to Cassius Winston and how special he was that junior year, how, if you remember, he had a tragedy happen, he started slow, and then at the end of that year, granted, Xavier Tillman coming on the way he did was such a big part of that year, but I mean, Michigan State fans know, that year being taken away the NCAA tournament is one of the biggest what-ifs in not program history, probably school athletics history.
It has to be, unfortunately.
So that's where my mind went with that, with just the difference of what that would have made, heading into the year of where the expectations is with Jeremy Fears. I think we're probably somewhere between 5 and 10 heading into the year preseason.
Yep.
Without him, I think that's, I don't know, fringe top 25.
They'll vote us number 18 randomly because, we got the cachet of the name. We have Izzo, but I see MSU falling out of the rankings, especially with this non-conference schedule.
Yes.
By Thanksgiving rolls around.
Yeah.
Not to spiral, not to get everyone freaking out.
We're staying positive here, right?
On this show, but always upbeat here, always talking about 85 degrees, sunny, rainbows, but no, we're just, hey, as long as this stays a topic, as long as Jeremy Fears has his name in that draft, and as long as, news keeps coming out that, hey, he's doing really well. He's got private workouts. Okay, yeah, it's worth another conversation. But Sean, this has been fantastic. Always love talking to you. Sorry it's been so long since we've dragged you on here, but cannot thank you enough for your time, your insight. Anything you want to throw out here before we let you go and enjoy this upcoming long holiday weekend here?
Yeah, nothing major. I think I think we're kind of in this odd wait and see period, right? Until the magical date gets there where they have to declare. And it's
I hate it.
You wake up every morning, you check your Twitter timeline and see, no news. Is that good? Is that bad? Do you want to keep guessing and drive your head into a wall? Because really, we have no idea what Jeremy Fears is thinking. I think all we can do is kind of what me and you did on this program and try to read the tea leaves of what information we have in front of us.
I'm so tired of tea leaves, man. I just want to actually drink the tea right now.
There you go.
Guys, we will be back tomorrow. We're going to switch it up. We will be talking football. Pat Fitzgerald, what are expectations for not just year one, but also year number 2? And guys, hey, until then, take care of yourselves. Enjoy this upcoming weekend if this is the last time you hear from us. But yes, we will have another episode tomorrow if you need something else, if you're doing any traveling to listen to. But guys, you got all the best. Love every single one of you. Take care of yourselves. Go green.